Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.
Welcome to the Happiness Show. This is George Ortega, and I'm here to talk about happiness because happiness is, always has been, and always will be the point of it all. Okay, tonight we're going to be talking about happiness and weekends. And all right, let's first go over the importance of weekends to our happiness. We have to keep in mind that at one time there were no weekends. At one time most people just worked 7 days, week after week after week without having any rest in between. And actually I think that probably came as a result of the Industrial Revolution with mechanization. I'm not sure that was always like that. I think a long time ago people didn't work all that much. But I think for at least a good century or so, people did work 7 days a week. And, finally, over time, workers won the right to first 1 day off and then 2 days off. Now, I imagine when people worked 7 days a week, there was great over fatigue, and that's probably why people a long time ago didn't, or one reason why they didn't live as long as we do now. And I'm sure it must have impinged on their level of happiness. To work 7 days a week, and often they didn't just work 8 hours sometimes like we work now. They often would work 12 hours. They didn't have the labor laws we have now, so it was really basically the idea is that weekends are a real blessing. A lot of people fought to get them, and they're really valuable to our happiness. Weekends rejuvenate our body and our mind. Our bodies need time to rest. And so do our minds. Our minds need, if we're constantly concentrating on work, then our mind doesn't get accustomed to be focused on pleasure. And, sometimes we have time during the evening to focus on pleasure, but a lot of times if we're working too hard, then we'll find that those evening times are difficult because sometimes pleasure also takes energy, and sometimes we don't have the energy for pleasure if we work too much. Okay, so again, we shouldn't really take weekends for granted because many people fought long and hard for them, and they really are a blessing that really should be taken advantage of. Another reason weekends are important to happiness, the research finds that most people are actually more satisfied with their work lives than they are with their leisure. So that probably has something to do with the idea that most people work in a community of people, with other people, friends. Their peers, co-workers who generally become friends. And the other thing is that work is generally very structured. There's a good feeling that comes with being productive and working on something that's meaningful. And so a lot of times when people have spare time, in the evenings or on weekends, it's a bit more difficult to structure and learn how to enjoy that time. And also, more people, or most people, rate weekend vacations as their most enjoyable times of any time. And vacations are really like extended weekends. There's no work at all. And it actually is a bit ironic since people are more satisfied with work, but apparently on vacations they're able to just tune into that kind of mindset that allows for more enjoyment. The idea here is that we can learn to view weekends as mini vacations. We can transfer that kind of set of mind that people apply to vacations to every weekend. And weekends come around every 7 days. Just like with vacations, mini vacations, on weekends, it's the perfect time to get together with friends and family. People that are closest to us are generally our greatest sources of happiness. So the weekends really afford us, extended periods of time to not have responsibilities, not have things that we have to work on, so that basically we can use that time to be with other people, to enjoy that time, and that's going to really benefit our level of happiness greatly. Again, people are our main sources of happiness, so naturally it makes a lot of sense that to spend a lot of time with other people is going to make us happier. Another way that weekends could be viewed as like mini vacations is that we could travel, take overnight trips or even day trips. Many of us have cars, so half an hour, or a couple of hours up, we're into the country. If we live in a city, or we can just visit different scenic attractions, maybe go to the beach. So weekends are also like good for relaxation. So basically, weekends represent 2 days out of every 7 that we really should devote to pleasure, to satisfaction, to happiness, to all that. All right. I want to go into a bit of why we don't enjoy weekends as much as we could, or how we can enjoy them a bit more. Generally, a lot of us don't really plan as much as we could. I know I don't a lot of times. Unfortunately, a lot of my friends don't plan either, so a lot of times when we call each other last minute, we can still arrange to get together. But like with vacations, a lot of us spend a good amount of time planning them, just planning what we're going to do, where we're going to go, who we're going to be with, what we're going to see, and so that's something we don't really do as much for weekends, and I think we probably should. And some of us tend to replace the week work that we apparently enjoy quite a lot with weekend work. So I guess some of us are kind of like workaholics, that we enjoy work, so that we work both weekdays and weekends. But see, sometimes that just doesn't work, because the body does get tired, and the mind gets tired. So while it might be comfortable for people to just engage in work on weekends also, I think it'd probably be a wiser strategy to learn how to enjoy the weekend, so one's not just working 7 days, even when one doesn't have to. A lot of times we just take on too many projects. We get involved with like repairing our houses, painting, and sometimes our lawns just take on an importance beyond our own. We're more concerned with our lawns than we are with our health and happiness sometimes. And a lot of times we just don't recognize, we don't realize how important weekends can be to our happiness and enhancing happiness, because basically the weekends are like training grounds. During the work week we've got responsibilities, we've got things that have to be taken care of, and we don't have time to devote to learning how to enjoy life. Sometimes during the evenings we might have a little time, but generally during the week, we're busy with responsibilities. Weekends are made for that. Weekends are made for like experimenting new things, figuring out what really makes us happy, what we really enjoy, and doing as much of it as possible. Okay, so again, one reason we don't enjoy weekends as much as we should is that we take them for granted. We just know that another one's going to be coming around in 7 days, and it's kind of like living. I mean, right here in White Plains, we're very close to New York City, and speaking for myself, I hardly ever go down there. I probably should go down there more, because it's very exciting, a lot of things to see. But I take it for granted, and I think, like in general, we take a lot of our weekends for granted, not really appreciating and valuing how instrumental they are to helping us become much happier. All right, let's see. Before we go on, I want to do a song. I wrote this song back in '96, and I don't know, I think I must have written it like when it was like a nice spring sunny day. It's called Sun-Warmed Bliss.
world around you on a breezy, sunny, warm morning, and be closer to imagining that all the world can be in love together. Sense a new beginning to a wondrous world we all can share. Everyone at peace with every part of our creation through forever. Let us all believe this paradise can come to be. It's waiting there for all the world to finally see. For when we see it all as possible, we're halfway to perfect destiny.
Okay, kind of a short song. All right, so you know, now that we've gone over like some of the things that, you know, prevent us from enjoying our weekends as much as we can, and how having them contribute more to our happiness, let's go over some of the things we can do to make better use of our weekends. I think the first thing really is planning, you know, and, you know, remembering that other people are our main sources of happiness, our significant others, our friends, our family. I think the best thing to plan is get-togethers with our friends, with our families. A lot of times we just, we just don't do this as much as we could, but you know, that's how, you know, generally when we look back to the times that we've enjoyed our lives the most, these are generally times that we've spent with other people, with the people we love and the people who love us, people we feel very close to. And a lot of times these people are around us, live near us and are by us, you know, all the time. I mean, it's not like a lot of times they're not like away from us, living in other places. You know, they're our friends and our family. So basically, you know, getting together is probably the best kind of plan that we can make for our weekends. It's important though to not overdo this, you know, because you know, obviously, even though other people are our main source of happiness, you know, we generally aren't with other people all the time, and that, you know, that's because, you know, after socializing, after spending a certain amount of socializing, even with the closest of friends or the people we're closest to, sometimes we just the dynamics begin to get more difficult, and enjoying that kind of time gets more difficult. So basically, you know, while it's important to plan weekends with friends and family, it's also very important not to overdo it. Remember, weekends are also very important for rest and relaxation, and we really should use them that way too. Okay, so also in terms of planning, you know, we really shouldn't wait till Friday, you know, to plan our weekends. Again, I can sometimes do that because, you know, I just, you know, this is something that, you know, a lot of times I'll give advice on the show that that I use. You know, a lot of the happiness advice, you know, that I've gleaned from books. This is something that I really don't use as much as I should, but I really should. And so, you know, it's good to not wait until the last minute to make plans. It's good to make plans early. One of the things that happens when we make plans early is that it increases our anticipatory pleasure. In other words, like you know how like sometimes when we plan a vacation or we plan something in advance, we're like looking forward to it. That's like sometimes half the fun, half the joy of it, looking forward to it. So, you know, if we plan, you know, if we call somebody up on, let's say, a Monday or a Tuesday for that Friday or Saturday or Sunday coming up, you know, chances are, you know, we'll probably set better plans because, you know, we'll be able to set plans perhaps more with the people we want to be with. And then throughout the rest of the week, we know exactly what we're doing over the weekend, so we don't have to think about it or worry about it as some of us might. And again, we can just really look forward to having a much better time. And another reason why we shouldn't wait for Fridays to plan our weekends, because a lot of people do plan their weekends early, and so a lot of people already have plans by Friday. So again, with plans, we shouldn't really plan our weekends with the same people all the time, unless it really works. If you've got a group of people that a group of friends or family that you're like especially close with, and like you can get together like 7 days of the week and still really enjoy time with them, that's great. But a lot of times it's just good to have a kind of like a network or social circle of friends where you vary who you see on the weekends. It just makes that variety just makes the weekends much more enjoyable. Different friends for different kinds of weekends. There might be certain friends where you'll call up when you expect rain because maybe they like movies, or they like maybe going shopping in malls, and maybe there are other friends who like hiking, so those are better friends for like really nice sunny weekends. Okay, and we should of course plan to get ourselves out of our homes. Weekends are really the perfect time to get out, because during the week there are a lot of people out on the roads, but everybody's got work on their minds. I don't know how many of us notice, like if we go to a vacation spot or even throughout our town on weekends, I tend to notice a difference. People on weekends tend to be much more relaxed, and so it's really very pleasant to even going to the malls on weekends, and just people enjoy shopping. Just anything to get ourselves out of our homes and around into the world, whether it's like malls or parks or anywhere where either we're like communing with nature or just being with other people. And one good idea about weekends is like it's a good idea to have a notebook or some kind of a plan book of places to go. Now I think some phone books have this. They have a section on places of interest where different museums and parks and attractions are listed. It's good to have something like that. For example, this is something I've been meaning to do this for a while. I haven't gotten around to it. I used to go. I used to play miniature golf with my parents as a kid on vacation, and like this is one of the things that I'd been planning to do. And when a lot of times we have time on our hands, but sometimes we find we just things don't come to mind sometimes, and this is actually especially important to happiness. Sometimes let's say we're not feeling as good as we would want to on a weekend. Well, studies show in happiness, like when one is not feeling so very happy, then one's thoughts aren't so very optimistic or positive, so it's more difficult to think up really fun things to do when one is not feeling that good, which is very ironic and unfortunate, because those are times when thinking up those kinds of things would be very, very useful. So, if we've got some kind of a plan book, miniature golf, bowling, movies, parks, museums, stores, different, just whole list of things. So like, weekend comes around and we're planning for a weekend, we've just got, it's much easier to just decide what to do, and we'll probably end up doing more new things. Okay, something else that I think we need to do to better enjoy our weekends is to really focus. Okay, during the work week, work is our focus. Being productive, getting our work done, being good at it, and hopefully enjoying it also. But during weekends, the focus should shift. Entirely. The weekend should be about pleasure. There are some things that have to still be done on weekends, like maybe mowing the lawn or things like that. but you know, we should try to minimize them. You know, we should, you know, whatever really doesn't need to be done on weekends really shouldn't. You know, we should really make our weekends as enjoyable through focusing on the enjoyment of them as possible. And you know, I mean, there's some of us that are workaholics, and so we're gonna like, you know, we're kind of like, we're habituated to, or you know, working for us is such a strong habit that we may not be able to get away from it on weekends. So I mean, it is possible, I suppose, to really, you know, devote one's time and effort and energy and work on actually figuring out how to enjoy one's weekend more. I mean, you know, it's a project. You know, it's a project like building a table, or you know, taking care of the lawn or something. Okay. So you know, in addition to focusing on pleasure during the weekends, because again, remember that pleasure is what happiness is all about. You know, the more pleasure we experience, the happier we're going to be. So you know, it just makes a lot of sense to analyze our weekends. Make a study of them. Compare. Compare. I don't know what I'm trying to read. What I have here. Okay. One thing that'll help us to analyze our weekends better is to talk about our weekends with our friends and families. You know, a lot of times, you know, we'll make plans for weekends. We'll talk about what we want to do, but you know, weekend enjoyment isn't a topic of conversation. I've mentioned in the past that that happiness often isn't a topic of conversation when it really should be, because happiness is, you know, the point of everything. But you know, very few people talk about happiness, and very few people talk about weekends and enjoying weekends and how that could be best done. So I think that would be a very good idea to just get in the habit of recognizing the importance of weekends and sharing that, you know, sharing one's insights with friends, asking, you know, well, you know, how do you, what do you do on rainy days? What, you know, what is the best way to spend certain types of days, or, you know, just going into it more deeply. Why don't we do more of the things that we really enjoy? What kinds of things are preventing us? So, yeah, because a lot of times, you know, things limit our enjoyment of weekends. Like, for example, you know, we may be shy about calling other people and making plans. You know, the average person's happiness isn't all that high, and self-esteem is very, very correlated with happiness. So that pretty much signifies that the average person's self-esteem isn't all that high. And so I think a lot of us would be a bit shy sometimes about calling other people to make plans, because I guess because of a fear of rejection, fear that, you know, other people may not want to spend time with us. And you know, if that's the problem, you know, you've got to figure it out. And then, you know, of course, the answer to that is to take the risk, to get yourself to see the importance in taking a risk like that, to realize that it's kind of like, you know, I mean, it could actually even be like salespeople. Salespeople are excellent at this. Whether they're knocking on door to door or making phone calls trying to get people to buy their products, they are accustomed to getting many rejections. I mean, they're gonna get maybe 10 or 20 no's before they get a yes sometimes, but that yes is all they need. You know, that one yes. And again, with friends and weekends, it's the same. If we have to call a few people, then that's fine. Chances are we probably won't have to call that many people, because since many of us are often shy about calling other people to make plans and things like that, we enjoy getting phone calls, or you know, having people get in touch with us about making plans. It makes us feel valued, and it makes us feel good, and it makes us feel happier. Okay, so, and also in terms of analyzing what we do, it's good to figure out exactly, you know, what is it that enhances our weekends? What is it that we really enjoy doing? Because, I mean, you know, just because a lot of people like shopping, for example, doesn't mean that we will. You know, we might like doing things that you know, that few people like. I don't know. It could be a hobby, like, you know, well, like photography, anything. But see, a lot of times we haven't taken the time to really delve too deeply into what really makes us happy, both, you know, in general and especially on weekends, because you know, again, on weekends we have all this time to do really whatever we want in many ways, and so it's well worth the effort to really think, well, what really makes me happy? Chances are it'll be doing something with other people, you know. A lot of times, though, it might not. A lot of times it's just, you know, getting away and just being on one's own. Okay, and then something else that's important is exercise. I mean, exercise is, weekends are a perfect time for exercise, and, you know, whether it's bicycling, jogging, walking. Walking is great exercise because, you know, it's not too hard on the body, and, you know, pretty much anyone can do it. All right, so basically, you know, the idea about enjoying our weekends and helping them to help us become as happy as possible is to, like, see them as mini vacations. You know, see them as times of pure leisure, pure enjoyment, where we really shouldn't be thinking about work. We shouldn't be thinking about progress, economics, things like that. We should be thinking about fun. We should wear different clothes. You know, if that'll help us get into the, you know, a lot of us have wardrobes that we reserve for vacations and all. You know, we should wear them on weekends if that makes us get more into the weekend mode, and you know, just use our imaginations. Just imagine that our weekends are really mini vacations, and take advantage of them as much as possible in that way. Okay, well, that's all we have time for tonight. Thanks for watching. In the future, we'll explore other topics designed to help us better enjoy life. This is George Ortega saying, be good, think well, feel very happy, and I hope you'll join me again next week here on The Happiness Show.
Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind of reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.